Chapter 11. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Control the Heaven and Earth Translator. Nyo.bo Studio Editor. Nyo.bo Studio. The voice sounded calm and gentle. The voice sounded very pleasant and clear. It was as if Buddha was reciting scriptures by his ear. It was as if an immortal was talking loudly by his ear. It was as if God was explaining profound meanings by his ear. However, he was like a bomb that exploded directly in Su Kai's heart. It formed a feeling that could not be described with words. Above the Saint Core realm is an earth immortal who can reverse life and death and control the heaven and earth. That is the legendary realm. Saint Core realm warriors can face light firearms. Their lives could be spared if they dodged the heavy firearms in time. But once they were hit by heavy firearms, such as mortars and missiles, they cannot escape death. Although the Saint Core realm is strong, it doesn't mean that they are invincible. Let's not talk about being besieged by warriors of the same level. Even if they are directly targeted by missiles or suppressed by thousands of troops, there is the possibility of killing the Saint Core realm warriors. Therefore, the Saint Core realm warriors are not invincible. Only the Earth Immortals. Under the premise that they can reverse life and death, control the heaven and earth, and does not encounter with nuclear weapons, they can be considered invincible. This world had nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons were also the world's most powerful weapons. Even if it was an Earth Immortal. To be able to reverse life and death and able to control heaven and earth. BDNVL.M. It was only to a certain extent. It could not contend against nuclear weapons. But nuclear weapons would not be easily used. The consequences would be too severe. So if someone became an Earth Immortal, then he would be invincible. However, that was impossible. The environment between heaven and earth had changed. According to scientific research, the amount of spiritual chi between heaven and earth had decreased by at least 80% compared to 1,000 years ago. For hundreds of years, not a single warrior had become an Earth Immortal. The Earth Immortal had long disappeared from the world. Su Kai did not believe that the young man in front of him was an Earth Immortal. It was as if a poor man had told him that he had $1 trillion in wealth. How could anyone believe it? Impossible. The environment of the world has changed. It's impossible for an Earth Immortal to appear. Su Kai could not help but shout. If the young man in front of him was an expert at the peak of the Saint Core realm, he might still believe it. But now, under such a heaven and earth environment, an Earth Immortal was a legend. It was impossible to realize. A legend. Fine. I'll let the legend descend into reality. Boom. Lin Chi's aura was fully unleashed. The terrifying pressure directly turned into an invisible life magnetic field. It directly enveloped Su Kai. Instantly. In Su Kai's mind, images of gods and demons dancing, gods fighting, and prehistoric giant beasts appeared. That rapidly consumed his spiritual energy. It caused his spirit to fall into a state of listlessness in a short period. No, this is all an illusion. Break it off. Su Kai was not simple after all. He was the team leader of the martial arts league of the Dragon Country and was very knowledgeable. He immediately recognized that everything in front of him was an illusion. After being suppressed by his spiritual energy, Su Kai decisively bit the tip of his tongue. He originally thought that he would be able to break free from an illusion like this. However, everything just now was still vivid in his mind. Nothing had changed. Immortals, demons, gods, giant beasts. It was as if he was in the primeval continent from 1,000,000 years ago. The world was in chaos at that time. Gods, demons, and monsters fought each other. The giant beasts were their vehicle. After a world-shaking and tragic battle, blood flowed like a river, and corpses were everywhere. At that moment, Su Kai understood. So, reversing life and death and controlling the heaven and earth does exist. So, God is in my body. Lin Chi's attack not only caused his spirit to collapse. It also allowed him to see the way forward. But seeing was seeing. It was extremely difficult to achieve. Cultivation was difficult. It was harder than reaching the sky. He did not understand why this man could become an earth immortal in such a world. But at least Lin Chi's existence pointed out a path. The path of martial arts was not completely cut off. Immortal Lord, your cultivation was unparalleled and invincible in this world. I hope you will accept to be our Supreme Elder of the Martial Arts League of the Dragon Country. Please give me half a day, and I will help you prepare the documents you need. At that time, you can use the power of the Martial Arts League of the Dragon Country and even the governments of various places. Su Kai's emotions could no longer be described as excited when facing such an earth immortal. He directly gave Lin Chi great power and hired him to become the Supreme Elder of the Martial Arts League of the Dragon Country. In the future, he might be able to transmit the mystery of how Martial Arts League warriors could step into the Earth Immortal realm. In short, he had given him everything he could. He hoped that the young man would be moved. I'll wait for you only for half a day. Lin Chi just nodded. He didn't refuse Su Kai's request. Although he was a reincarnator, he didn't mind becoming a member of this world's mysterious department. Martial Arts League of the Dragon Country. It sounded like a powerful organization. The organization should be powerful since they were able to let him use the power of the government. It was very likely that it would directly affect the leadership of the country. Sir, I hate to ask you this. But can you let me see your power? They had talked about the formal matter. Su Kai wanted to talk about private matters. Besides being the leader of the Martial Arts League, Su Kai was also a warrior. As a warrior, he naturally wanted to see how powerful the legendary Earth Immortal was. Just now, he had seen Lin Chi's terrifying spiritual power. At that moment, he wanted to see Lin Chi's combat ability. An Earth Immortal could control heaven and earth and reverse life and death. Okay. Lin Chi nodded. He raised his head to look at the sky. Then. Rumble. A few muffled thunder sounds came from the sky. The sky that was still clear just now had turned into dark clouds. The dark clouds piled up, and countless electric snakes were swimming in the clouds. The sky was dark, and a strong wind was blowing. Crackle. The sound from a thunderbolt. Several bolts of lightning struck down. They interweaved into a lightning dragon and exploded in an instant. Su Kai was drenched in sweat, and his eardrums felt as if they were being torn apart. He was shocked. As expected of an Earth Immortal, he could control heaven and earth. These few bolts of lightning struck down under Lin Chi's control. Fortunately, it was just a demonstration. He would probably be smashed into pieces if that struck him. He wasn't even able to have the thought of defending himself before the lightning struck, and he might have died because of it. An Earth Immortal was extremely terrifying. Thank you, sir. I'll take my leave now and prepare the things you need. Su Kai was satisfied. Lin Chi showed him what Earth Immortal was. However, just as he was about to turn around and leave, his body suddenly trembled, and his movement paused. His pupils constricted. He had clearly seen something that he thought was impossible. Or rather, something that was impossible. There was a scenic spot not far away. A mountain cliff that was hundreds of meters tall stood in the scenic spot. But now, that mountain peak collapsed with a rumble. Chapter 12. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The song family will be removed from the list from today onwards. Translator. Nyo.bo Studio Editor. Nyo.bo Studio. That mountain peak was directly destroyed by the lightning dragon summoned by Lin Chi. The mountain peak that was hundreds of meters tall was directly shattered and collapsed. Fortunately, the mountain peak was usually not open to tourists. Otherwise, it would cause a large number of casualties. Lin Chi just casually summoned a lightning dragon, and it was able to destroy a mountain peak that was hundreds of meters tall. It was reduced to ashes in a blink of an eye. Su Kai's body was trembling violently, and his back was drenched with sweat. Isn't this too terrifying? The abilities of an Earth Immortal could be so powerful. Moreover, a mountain that was hundreds of meters tall was shattered without any sign. And I didn't even notice it just now. In other words, if he wanted to kill me, I wouldn't even know how I died. The difference of one realm is like the difference between a god and a mortal. Is this the power of controlling heaven and earth and reversing life and death? Su Kai finally understood. The difference between him and this young man couldn't even be described as far removed as heaven from earth. Although they were only 2 realms apart. But he couldn't even withstand a single move from Lin Chi. However, Su Kai didn't know that. Lin Chi had done that on purpose. The power of that method was shocking, but it also consumed a lot of energy. Even if Lin Chi was an Earth Immortal, he couldn't use that method endlessly. But Su Kai didn't know that. He left with respect for Lin Chi. Half a day later. At that evening, Su Kai appeared again and handed a phone and ID to Lin Chi. Lin Chi was smarter. Then, under Su Kai's terrified gaze, he flew down the building. That moment, the gravity seemed to have lost its effect. He was clearly in the air at such a high altitude. However, Lin Chi landed gently like a feather. In the end, he blended into the crowd. No one knew where he went. An Earth Immortal is terrifying. This person is an expert who has been in seclusion for more than 100 years. After reaching the Earth Immortal level, he can reverse life and death, and he can still change from old to young. That can explain why he needs an identity. Su Kai guessed about Lin Chi secretly. Lin Chi was not as young as he looked. Sigh, it's hard to be an Earth Immortal. After a deep sigh, he also left. He knew that the world in the future, it was destined to be more exciting and unpredictable because of Lin Chi's appearance. On the plane from the capital to Nanjing City. Although Lin Chi had become an Earth Immortal, he would not run to the Nanjing City. Moreover, flying consumed a lot of energy. The most convenient transportation was naturally the plane. And buying a plane ticket was even easier. Su Kai gave Lin Chi a mobile phone. It had all kinds of super.access software. Lin Chi only did a simple search for the plane ticket. Soon, the software for choosing a plane ticket popped out. It was a one-click ticket purchase for any tickets. Easy, convenient. With the Martial Arts League's identification card. It was very convenient to go through all kinds of procedures, and he took the Super VIP channel. So, in the early morning of the next day, Lin Chi arrived at Nanjing Airport. After walking out of Nanjing Airport, a luxurious business car. It had been waiting for him for a long time. That was the exclusive vehicle of the Martial Arts League. Not to mention the value of the car. Just the license plate alone made the people of the superior level in Nanjing City show some courtesy. Although Nanjing City was also a first-class city of the Dragon Country. The mayor here also had a good position. But, after all, that was a country in which warriors were at the top of the pyramid. Even the mayor of Nanjing City couldn't afford to offend the Martial Arts League, which specialized in the management of warriors. On the way. Sir, my name is Su Hui. I'll be in charge of everything for you from now on. Of course, if you don't need me, I'll leave directly. If there's anything, you can contact me directly. Driver Su Hui introduced himself to Lin Chi. Take me to the Song family. Lin Chi wouldn't refuse, of course. It was more convenient to have a local to take him. Yes, sir. Is it the biggest family in Nanjing City, the Song family? Su Hui couldn't help but ask. In Nanjing City, there were too many families with the surname Song. But the mayor's Song family was the most famous. That's right. Lin Chi nodded. He quietly observed Su Hui. The driver Su Hui. He was a major general who was dressed in military uniform. Lin Chi had noticed that before he got into the car. Obviously. That was someone who knew the news and came to contact him on purpose. A major general who came to be his chauffeur. He had to obey his arrangements the entire time. He had to at least give the man some benefits. That was probably their plan. What caught Lin Chi's attention was the Major General Su Hui. He was a person at the peak of the Foundation establishment realm. He was around 20.5 years old. His aura was restrained and collected. That was very rare, and his talent could be considered extremely outstanding. He couldn't escape Lin Chi's perception at all. Sir, today is the engagement between Song Tianming and Tang Euro. Their whole family is at the Nanjing City International Hotel. Should we go there instead? Su Hui was a local officer in Nanjing City. Naturally, he was very clear about things happening in this place. Song Tianming and Tang Euro engagement had long spread throughout Nanjing City. So he knew about that matter. The engagement is today. What a coincidence. Since it's such a coincidence, we should prepare a big gift for them. Lin Chi smirked. How could he not know who Song Tianming was and what kind of character he was? He was reincarnated into this world. Especially the women from Nanjing City, they were naturally in trouble. Su Hui, this Song Tianming isn't a good person, right? After Lin Chi knew that Su Hui was a local, he planned to get some information from him first. Su Hui wanted to say something but hesitated. He didn't know how to put that matter. It's okay. Just say it. I have a grudge on him. Lin Chi was very straightforward. He was almost going to say that he was here to revenge on Song Tianming. I see. Su Hui heaved a sigh of relief. Only then did he feel relieved. Song Tianming is just a scumbag. The girls that he ruined has already exceeded 100. He is gifted and has terrifying talent in martial arts. He is now a pre-celestial realm expert, comparable to the team leader of our martial arts league. The Song family became stronger and stronger under his help, but the process was bloody. Although Nanjing City has become more and more developed under the Song family's rule. But more people have suffered unfair grievances because of this. The Tang family's eldest daughter, who is engaged to Song Tianming today, was forced to do so. Su Hui gave a rough description of Song Tianming's situation. According to Su Hui, Song Tianming might have awakened at least 10 years earlier than him. During these 10 years, he had been able to do as he pleased. He had helped the Song family expand continuously. Although it had also brought a certain level of improvement to Nanjing City. However, their methods were extremely cruel, causing the deaths of countless people. However, the people of Nanjing City were angry but did not dare to speak out due to the strength of the Song family and Song Tianming's martial arts ability. They could only swallow their anger. I understand. Looks like you will have to elect a new mayor for this city. The Song family will be removed from the list from today onwards. Chapter 13. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Give him a surprise translator. Nyo.bo Studio Editor. Nyo.bo Studio. Lin Chi's voice was emotionless. It was as if he was announcing something. It was cold and indifferent. However, this simple sentence was enough to decide the fate of the Song family. From today onwards, the Song family would be removed from the list. Su Hui's body trembled, and his pupils constricted. The Song family was a local gangster in Nanjing City. They had been established in Nanjing City for countless years and had connections in the imperial court. Although the Song family had caused a disaster, Su Hui had thought that the most he would do was to punish the Song family. He had not expected that the officer would directly remove the name of the Song family. That was completely different. Yes, sir. Su Hui gulped and agreed. However, his heart was heaving violently, and he was extremely shocked. Lin Chi was assigned to him by his superior. He had been ordered by his superiors to do his best to comply with whatever Lin Chi requested. However, that request was too difficult to fulfill. Unexpectedly, he wanted to uproot the Song family and remove their name from Nanjing City. At the same time, Su Hui immediately reported this matter to his superior. Initially, Su Hui thought that his superior would never agree to this matter. After all, although the Song family was a disaster, they were still a powerful family in Nanjing City. Song Tianming's father was also the current mayor. Removing the Song family from the list would cause a huge uproar and cause unimaginable consequences. Su Hui did not expect that the superiors would agree in their reply. There was only a simple word in the reply which was agreed. And it was an immediate reply. Furthermore, the superiors were able to make this decision. They must have reported this matter to the imperial court. The imperial court agreed as well. Those people in the imperial court who interacted with the Song family did not stand out to oppose and speak up for the Song family. Moreover, no one dared to inform the Song family. Su Hui was completely dumbfounded. What was the background of this young officer? A word from him was enough to decide the life and death of the Song family. Su Hui could not help but look at Lin Chi in the rear-view mirror. Lin Chi casually leaned against the leather chair and looked out of the window. His eyes were deep and full of brilliance. He could not see through Lin Chi at all. Warriors trained in martial arts. Their chi and blood were vigorous like the scorching sun. The powerful warriors' chi and blood were even more powerful. When one walked a few meters beside them, they would feel the scorching heat. Unless one deliberately restrained themselves, anyone could immediately tell if they were a warrior or not. Lin Chi's body did not have any chi and blood fluctuation. At first glance, he looked like an ordinary person. However, Lin Chi's bearing and appearance could not be an ordinary person no matter how one looked at it. Moreover, Lin Chi was able to make his superior take him so seriously. Su Hui immediately withdrew his gaze and did not dare to look too much. As a Foundation Establishment Realm warrior, he understood that if Lin Chi was a powerful warrior, his perception would be incomparably sharp. He would be able to detect that he was secretly observing him. A moment of carelessness would enrage him. That was because Su Hui was driving the exclusive vehicle of the Martial Arts League of the Dragon Country. No one dared to stop him. Some people directly drove aside when they saw their car. Therefore, the drive was smooth. Soon, they arrived at the Nanjing City Hotel. On the road, Su Hui even brought Lin Chi to change into a tuxedo for the banquet. After changing into the tuxedo, Lin Chi was even more handsome and dashing, making others not dare to look at him directly. It seemed that taking a glance at Lin Chi was a form of blasphemy. What surprised Su Hui was that Lin Chi, who originally had long black hair, changed his hair into dashing short hair after putting on the formal attire. An Earth immortal could perfectly control his body. Not to mention making his black hair shorter, he could regenerate a limb even if he lost one. Nanjing City Hotel. Su Hui stopped the car. A waiter immediately came up and asked respectfully. "Good day, are you here to attend young Master Song's engagement ceremony?" The engagement ceremony that day was for the engagement between young Master Song Tianming and Tang Yuro. The Song family had already booked the Nanjing City Hotel. This waiter was sharp at judging people. Seeing Su Hui driving a luxurious car, the license plate was even terrifying. The two people in the car were wearing expensive tuxedos. They must be here to attend the engagement ceremony. Su Hui did not answer immediately. Instead, he turned to look at Lin Chi. He was waiting for Lin Chi to decide. He was a little uncertain about Lin Chi's intentions. Indeed. I'm a classmate of young Master Song. I'm here today to attend young Master Song's engagement ceremony. Lin Chi replied calmly. He and Song Tianming were indeed classmates. That was a fact. Even Song Tianming could not deny that if he came over personally at that moment. The waiter was filled with respect and had a smile on his face. Lin Chi did not look like an ordinary person just by his appearance and bearing, as well as being young Master Song's classmate. So you are young Master Song's classmate. Please show me your invitation card. The waiter was respectful. Of course, Lin Chi did not have the invitation card. However, he didn't need to worry at all. Since he had told Su Hui that he was coming to look for Song Tianming. He believed that Su Hui could solve all of this. Or rather, the Martial Arts League of the Dragon Country could solve it. As expected. Su Hui took out his cell phone. Hiss. When the waiter saw the electronic invitation card displayed on Su Hui's cell phone, his eyes immediately widened. He had been informed by the supervisor a long time ago. The electronic invitation was the highest quality invitation of the Song family. Only a few people had the Song family's electronic invitation. All of them were high-ranking officials and dignitaries. I'm sorry for wasting your time. Please come in. Young Master Song is already waiting for you two in the building. The waiter's face was filled with a respectful smile as he extended his hand to welcome them. As for Lin Chi, he did not dare to take another look at him. If he took another look at such a person and made him dislike him, he wouldn't be able to bear the blame. Oh right, I want to give my former classmate a surprise. So, don't tell him about me coming over. I want to appear at the beginning of the engagement ceremony. Give him a surprise and send him my sincerest wishes. Lin Chi casually said that to the waiter. His attitude was very casual. But the waiter nodded his head and agreed very seriously. Although he did not know Lin Chi's identity. But for a high-ranking official like Lin Chi, their words were orders. He had to do it honestly. Don't worry. I will not tell young Master Song about your arrival. Young Master Song will be extremely surprised by your arrival. After saying that, the waiter tactfully left. Originally, Su Hui had planned to tip the waiter. But the waiter did not dare to take it. Hence, Su Hui drove his car to the underground garage. That kind of hotel used to have a waiter who parked the car for the guests. But Su Hui refused the service. He didn't like others to touch his car. Moreover, there were many confidential items in his car. He was a member of the Martial Arts League of the Dragon Country, and the organization was mysterious. Sometimes, in order to carry out a mission, the car had to contain items that would be used in the mission. There were many dangerous weapons among them. After Su Hui parked the car, he took the elevator with Lin Chi. Song Tianming's engagement ceremony was held on the 18th floor. Just as the elevator reached the 10th floor. Ding! The elevator stopped for a moment. The elevator door opened. Four beautiful women in gowns walked toward them. Chapter 14. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. You don't deserve to know him. Translator. Nyo I.bo Studio Editor. Nyo I.bo Studio Hiss. The four women gasped. Then, they all looked at Lin Chi and blushed. Especially the two women standing on the left, who had extremely hot bodies and curly wine-red hair. They looked straight at Lin Chi. They looked at him as if they wanted to eat Lin Chi up. Both of them were wearing extremely sexy gowns, revealing half of their snow-white breasts, only covering the most important parts. The hem of their skirts was split open, and as they walked, they had two firm and slender legs, making it difficult for people to move their eyes off them. In short, these two beautiful women gave people the feeling that they were beautiful and being able to arouse the desire of any male creature in the first place. The two women next to them were much better. Although they were a little absent-minded the moment they saw Lin Chi, they quickly withdrew their gazes. They were more conservative in terms of dressing. However, their appearances were prettier than the two gorgeous women on the left. They gave others the impression of a lady from a wealthy family. Su Hui only frowned when he saw the scene. He subconsciously stood in front of Lin Chi, deeply afraid that these women would disturb Lin Chi. Su Hui seemed to turn a blind eye to the two gorgeous women who possessed fatal attraction towards men. His will did not waver at all. He was a Foundation Establishment Realm warrior and had received professional training from the Martial Arts League. Beauty couldn't affect his will. On the contrary, Lin Chi's expression changed slightly when he saw the four women who came in. It was because he knew one of the four women. However, the woman who gave off the feeling of a lady from a noble family did not recognize Lin Chi. When she saw Lin Chi, she was a little surprised, but she quickly retracted her gaze. I didn't expect Lin Xiaoxue to be reincarnated into this world. Lin Chi looked at the lady and was a little surprised. He was already an earth immortal, and his emotions were gradually dissipating. Normally, nothing could affect his mind. Lin Chi would not feel anything even when he was facing life and death. That was a state that transcended all things and life and death. But at that moment, there was a ripple in his heart. Because that woman was Lin Xiaoxue. He did not expect it to be such a coincidence. Normally, the probability of turning around in the same reincarnation world was not high, unless she bought a reincarnation tracking token like Song Tianming. Although Lin Xiaoxue stood up for him, their relationship was not good enough to let Lin Xiaoxue buy a reincarnation tracking token to follow him to this world. Therefore, Lin Chi thought that meeting Lin Xiaoxue here was just a coincidence. In his perception, Lin Xiaoxue was also a warrior. Her talent and strength were not bad, and she had already reached the Qi-absorbing realm. Since he had become an earth immortal, and Lin Xiaoxue had stood up for him before, Lin Chi did not mind helping Lin Xiaoxue improve her martial arts. In this way, Lin Xiaoxue could easily achieve something in this world. It was no problem for her to become a reincarnator, and she could also get a large number of points. Hello, handsome. I'm Zhang Ling, and I'm Li Ying. Nice to meet you. Can we exchange contact information? At that moment, the two gorgeous women next to Lin Xiaoxue said to Lin Chi. They looked at Lin Chi with burning eyes and even stuck out their pinkish tongues to lick the corners of their lips. They were full of fatal attraction to men. They were very confident in their charm. Although Lin Chi was handsome, he wouldn't be able to resist their charm. He would be excited to exchange contacts with them. They would be able to have a wonderful date with Lin Chi in the evening. It was the first time they had seen such a handsome man. When they thought of being able to taste such a young and handsome body, a numbing warmth flowed through their bodies. The charm and desire in their eyes seemed to be about to drip out. It was a pity that they had to be responsible for guarding the Tang family's young lady. Otherwise, they would have wanted to go to a secret small room with Lin Chi right now and have a good talk. The gorgeous woman stuck out her chest and stretched out her delicate wrist at Lin Chi. Get lost. A cold shout. It instantly pulled the gorgeous woman back to reality. It broke their fantasy. Su Hui, who was standing in front of Lin Chi, had a livid face. He shouted coldly, "Who are you? Do you think you're qualified to know my commanding officer?" Just now. The moment the elevator door opened, the four women appeared in the sight of the two of them. Su Hui noticed that Lin Chi had a trace of disgust on his face when he saw the two gorgeous women on his left. Although it was fleeting, Su Hui caught it. Su Hui was a smart man. Naturally, he could see Lin Chi's attitude toward the two women. That was why he was standing in front of Lin Chi. He did not expect these two gorgeous women not only did not notice Lin Chi's expression, and even wanted to get to know him. Su Hui obviously would not let anyone disturb Lin Chi. You. The two gorgeous women were stunned, and anger appeared on their fair faces. One of the women pointed at Su Hui angrily. How dare you? Do you know? Slap. A loud sound was heard. Before she could finish her sentence, Su Hui slapped her. The force of the slap was so strong that several of the woman's teeth fell off, and blood dripped from the corner of her mouth. Su Hui didn't care who she was. Even if it was the Song family that offended the Martial Arts League, he would still dare to attack them. The existence of the Martial Arts League was above the local government. Let alone that woman. Su Hui could tell. Both the gorgeous women were also warriors. Their cultivations weren't low. Both of them were warriors at the peak of the Foundation establishment realm. They were much higher than the delicate young girl beside them. The moment they entered, Su Hui could feel that the atmosphere they saw wasn't quite right. These two gorgeous women should be warriors who were in charge of keep watch over the two pretty girls. Although he did not know the reason, since they dared to offend Lin Chi. They were courting death. That slap immediately made the other women widen their eyes. They could not believe their eyes. Especially Lin Xiaoxue and the pretty girl next to her. The gorgeous woman was from the Song family. And she was Song Tianming's personal secretary. Not only that, but these two gorgeous girls were also warriors at the peak of the qi-absorbing realm. The reason why they were here was that Song Tianming had ordered them to monitor their whereabouts. And today was the engagement ceremony organized by the Song family. The entire Nanqing City Hotel was booked by the Song family. Unexpectedly, that person was so bold. He didn't care about their reputation and directly slapped them. However, the surprise in their eyes soon disappeared. They had gloating expressions on their faces. Especially the pretty girl next to Lin Xiaoxue, she sneered. The slap on the gorgeous girl's face made her feel delighted. Because she was Tang Euro, the lady of the engagement ceremony that day. These two women were sent by Song Tianming to keep an eye on her. They were the Song family's followers, and they also had an unclean relationship with Song Tianming. Tang Euro naturally felt happy seeing them being slapped. Chapter 15. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Stage 2 Reincarnator Translator. Nyo I.bo Studio Editor. Nyo I.bo Studio. How dare you? Do you know what this place is? How dare you hurt us? You'll regret it. How dare you offend the Song family? Security! Security! Another gorgeous woman shouted. At the same time, she took a few steps back. She could see that the person who had attacked was a powerful warrior. That slap was not powerful, but it was extremely fast. She and the other woman were warriors specially trained by the Song family, so they were not weak. However, they could not even block this slap. Her companion was slapped, so how could they let the person leave just like that? They could only call out loudly and let this matter blow up. The Song family would send someone to help them. Her eyes flashed with hatred. Song Tianming doted on them because of their beauty. Although they were only warriors trained by the Song family, their status in the Song family was very high. Usually, those men would be respectful to them and let them play with them. Now, this unknown man attacked them. It had angered them. Su Hui was wearing a formal dress. Not the military uniform from before. Therefore, these two women could not recognize Su Hui's identity. Subconsciously, they thought that Su Hui was Lin Chi's bodyguard. Let me do it. Lin Chi looked at these two gorgeous women. He did not want to make a big fuss. He planned to give Song Tianming a surprise. He took a step forward. He walked in front of Lin Xiaoxue and the others. Then, he raised his handsome face and looked at the two women. Boom! The two women's minds were in a daze. When they woke up, they were shocked to find that they were no longer in the Nanjing City Hotel. Instead, they were standing in a desolate desert. The wind and sand were in the air, and the scorching sun scorched the earth. This must be an illusion. The woman with blood flowing from the corner of her mouth covered her face, and her eyes were filled with shock. They did not believe it and assumed that the desert before them was just an illusion. However, they soon felt that their mouths and tongues were dry, and the water in their bodies was constantly evaporating. The feeling of dehydration was real, and it made them feel extremely painful. They began to run in the desert, trying to find a water source. However, this desert was extremely vast and endless. They would not be able to walk out of this desert even if they ran till their legs cripple. The wind and sand were getting stronger and stronger. The sun above their heads was like a huge furnace, constantly roasting the earth. Their physical strength was being used up crazily, and they no longer could run. They sat on the hot sand and struggled weakly. No, I don't believe it. This is an illusion. I want to drink water, drink water. I was wrong. We were wrong. I can't take it anymore. Let us go. They no longer cared if what they were seeing was an illusion. If this continued, they would soon die from lack of water. They started to wail and beg for mercy, kneeling in the desert and begging for mercy. The next second, Lin Chi stopped. They sat on the floor of the hotel. The desert, the sun, and the wind and sand all disappeared. The cold air in the hotel instantly woke them up. So, it was an illusion just now. However, the memory of the hot and dry feeling was still fresh in their minds, making their lives worse than death. The two women's eyes were filled with shock as they stared at Lin Chi. Lin Chi stood with his hands behind his back, looking like a fallen immortal. His gaze was calm, and his entire body was emitting a terrifying pressure. It made everyone present feel that it was difficult to breathe. The two gorgeous women came to their senses. The man in front of them was simply inhuman. He had subdued them with just a glance, leaving them without the slightest ability to fight back. Even Song Tianming was unable to achieve such a method. After using the super serum, Song Tianming had become a pre-celestial realm warrior. He was one of the top powerful men in the entire Nanjing city and even in the Dragon Country. However, Song Tianming did not give them the feeling that he was as terrifying as this man in front of them. That man could kill them with one look. They would have died on the spot if he had not stopped just now. That was the effect on souls. The person's martial arts were so powerful that he could control the souls of others. Although they were still in the Nanjing City Hotel, Lin Chi could control the souls of others and make them believe that they were in the desert in their minds. When their minds fully accepted this idea, the damage in their minds would directly appear in their bodies. If they were short of water in the mental illusion, their bodies would be short of water. If they did not replenish their water in time, they would die of thirst or be burned to death by the hot sun. They looked at Lin Chi with fear. That man was too scary. He could decide their life and death just by one look and one thought. To a certain extent, he was a god. A god, who stood high above and could control life and death. And they were mortals. Mortals had no resistance against a god. Since when did such a powerful figure appear in Nanjing City? Lin Xiaoshue's eyes widened when she saw this scene. Her heart was like a raging wave, incomparably shocked. How is that possible? This place is just an ordinary modern urban world. Although there are warriors, it's impossible for such a powerful existence to appear. A single glance can create an extremely realistic illusion and control the life and death of others. He's no longer an ordinary warrior. He's at least comparable to a stage 2-2 reincarnator. Lin Xiaoxue looked at Lin Chi's back and was secretly shocked. Lin Chi's existence had broken her understanding of this world. That man in front of her was an existence comparable to a stage 2 reincarnator. In the main world, reincarnators could obtain cultivation methods in the other world and thus embark on the path of cultivation. Reincarnators who embarked on the path of cultivation were called stage 1 reincarnators. For example, the beginner magic apprentice, the beginner chi cultivator, the beginner ghostbuster, the beginner summoner, and the beginner mech master. In terms of martial arts, one had to be at least at the Saint Core realm. Only by cultivating inner energy could one be called a stage 1 reincarnator. As for stage 2 reincarnators, their levels were higher and had stronger strength, with more terrifying power. Such as intermediate magicians, foundation establishment cultivators, and so on. These types of reincarnators could truly be called cultivators. Before that happened, she thought that this world was just a modern urban world where martial arts flourished. Although martial arts were powerful, it was still within an acceptable range. Only the best warriors could break the potential of the human body to a certain extent. Although there were records of the existence of earth immortals in ancient books, they were just more powerful warriors in Lin Xiaoshue's point of view. In the past hundreds of years, the environment of the world had changed drastically. There was not a single earth immortal left in the world. Moreover, Lin Xiaoshue did not think that the earth immortals of this world were that magical. It was a bit of an exaggeration to say that they were immortals. At most, they were equivalent to the existence of chi refinement stage cultivators. However, the strength of the man in front of her had already exceeded her imagination. Was that person a reincarnator or a warrior from this world? If he were a warrior from this world, then she would have to re-evaluate this world. At the same time, Lin Xiaoshue wondered if she could make this man her master. With the guidance of an expert from another world, her martial arts would improve drastically. Chapter 16 You are listening at novelfull.audio. I'm here to get rid of the song family translator. Nyo-i.bo studio editor. Nyo-i.bo studio. The two gorgeous women looked at Lin Chi in shock. Lin Chi's methods were beyond their comprehension. He wasn't human. He was a god. Song Tianming wasn't even a match for Lin Chi in their hearts. But it didn't mean that they would surrender. As Song Tianming's women, these two gorgeous women were used to being superior and dominating others' lives. Today, they were slapped in the face by a strange man in public and even made a fool of themselves in front of everyone. If it weren't because Lin Chi's strengths were far beyond their imagination, they would make Lin Chi pay a painful price. The two women looked at each other slightly, revealing a trace of resentment. However, it disappeared in an instant, replaced by a look of flattery and fawning. We were blind to disturb you, sir. You are a big guy. Please don't get angry with a little girl like us. One of the women crossed her fingers in front of her chest and kept begging for mercy. At the same time, she lowered her chest, revealing her dazzling snow-white breast. Although they were not as powerful as Lin Chi, they did not believe that Lin Chi would be able to resist their enchanting bodies. In the entire Nanqing city, no man was unmoved when they saw her. Even people like Song Tianming were reluctant to let go of her body and had specially assigned them to be his secretaries. It was a secret. A secretary helps her boss, and a secretary had to help her boss. Anyone who knew it would understand it. She smirked lightly as if she had already seen Lin Chi's desire for her body. She was confident that she could arouse Lin Chi's desire. But soon, she was disappointed. Lin Chi was not moved at all. He looked at her with no evil thoughts in his eyes. On the contrary, there was mockery and pity in his gaze. Under Lin Chi's gaze, she seemed to be a pitiful woman, weak and incompetent. She even had to sacrifice her body to achieve her goal. What kind of gaze was that? Shouldn't he like her because of her body? Usually, every man's eyes would be filled with desire when they saw her in such a posture. But this man's gaze was filled with mockery and pity. The beautiful woman felt extremely awkward facing such a gaze. Her entire body froze on the spot, not knowing what to do. However, these two women were not simple. They had carried out countless secret missions for the Song family, so their mind was not weak. They quickly came back to their senses. They had already made a judgment about Lin Chi in their hearts. That man must be in a high position and used to being above all living things. That was why he was disdainful of their behavior and would not even take a glance at them. Although they did not know Lin Chi's identity, they knew that there were very few people in the entire dragon country who could do what Lin Chi just did. Such a figure must have an unimaginable status in the dragon country. What kind of beauty had he not encountered? Beauty was almost no different from air in front of such a man. They had already gotten rid of the lowest level of human physiological desires. No one would be able to touch their hearts if they did not take the initiative to release their desires. Their hearts were like 10,000-year-old glaciers, forever maintaining a calm, but also like the eternal universe, full of mystery. Their attempt to seduce Lin Chi with their beauty was extremely laughable in his eyes. It did not have any effect at all. "You're from the Song family." At that moment, Lin Chi slowly spoke, breaking the awkward atmosphere. From the moment the four women walked into the elevator, Lin Chi could tell that these two gorgeous women were not with Lin Xiaoxue. And that day was Song Tianming's engagement ceremony. The entire Nanqing City Hotel was reserved by the Song family. They were either guests invited by the Song family or people from the Song family for them to be there. These two were not ordinary people. They were qi-absorbing warriors. Their actions exuded a fierce and sinister style. Their eyes had been fixed on the woman next to Lin Xiaoxue since they came in. It was obvious that they were in charge of keeping an eye on that woman. On a day like that day, there was only a possibility that the delicate and pretty girl was Tang Yuro, the eldest daughter of the Tang family, who was engaged to Song Tianming. Those two gorgeous women should be the warriors sent by the Song family to keep an eye on Tang Yuro. Before Lin Chi came, he already knew that Tang Yuro and Song Tianming's engagement was not consensual. It was only under Song Tianming's coercion that they agreed to the engagement. Although Song Tianming was conceited, he was also worried that Tang Yuro would escape. That day was his engagement ceremony. Song Tianming would lose his reputation if the bride-to-be escaped. Thus, he sent someone to keep an eye on the Tang family's eldest daughter. "Yes, sir." The two beautiful women recovered from their awkwardness and respectfully replied, "We are from the Song family." When they spoke of the Song family, the two women's tone became a little higher, obviously emphasizing that they were from the Song family. In Nanqing City, the Song family had the power to control everything. Whoever dared to offend the Song family would meet a terrible end. Lin Chi smirked. It seemed that these two gorgeous women thought that he would be afraid of the Song family's name. What a joke! If they were ordinary people, or even most of the people in the Dragon Country, they might not dare to offend the Song family. However, he, Lin Chi, was an earth immortal. A mere Song family was nothing more than an ant to him. Lin Chi raised his eyes and looked at the two women. The glance seemed nothing to the onlookers. However, it was completely different in the eyes of these two gorgeous women. His gaze was extremely cold. It made their bodies shiver. "I came here to get rid of the Song family's name from now on." A cold killing intent emanated from Lin Chi's body. The two gorgeous women seemed to have fallen into the 18th layer of hell. Countless chilly winds howled, and evil spirits roared. They were so scared that they knelt on the ground. Their bodies trembled violently. The man wanted to get rid of the Song family. "Sir, we have nothing to do with the Song family. We are only forced to do things for the Song family. We are not willing to do so. The Song family has the power to control everything in Nanqing City. We are just two weak women. We have no chance to resist the Song family." "That's right, sir. We have no choice. It has nothing to do with us if you want to deal with the Song family." We can help you deal with the Song family. We have evidence of the Song family's crimes over the years. I can give it all to you, as long as you let us go. Sensing the intense killing intent from Lin Chi, the two gorgeous women knelt on the ground and kowtowed desperately for mercy. They lowered their heads in fear and walked towards Lin Chi, looking like two begging bitches. We are willing to submit to you. When they climbed to Lin Chi's side, the two women even opened their mouths and stretched out their pink tongues, wanting to kiss Lin Chi's shoes. It seemed like they were submitting to Lin Chi. But in reality, the two women were looking at each other with a vicious look in their eyes. Their hands reached upwards to their thighs, and each took out delicate guns. Both of them smiled at the same time when they took out the gun. Chapter 17. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Catching Bullets with Bare Hands. Translator. Nyo I.bo Studio Editor. Nyo I.bo Studio. In the Dragon Country, or the entire world. No other warriors could withstand the bullets apart from warriors of Saint Core realm. Even if Lin Chi were extremely powerful, he would die being shot at such a close distance. They subconsciously thought that Lin Chi could not be a Saint Core realm warrior. After all, there was only 3 Saint Core realm warrior in the entire Dragon Country. Each Saint Core realm warrior was aloof from the world and extremely prominent. How was it possible that such a man appear in the Nanqing City Hotel? It was even more impossible for him to come after the Song family. The Song family would not dare to offend a Saint Core realm warrior. They would suffer a disaster at once if they accidentally offend a Saint Core realm warrior. He couldn't be there that day to take revenge, and it was also impossible for him to just let the Song family develop. The Song family had been doing well and prospering day by day in these years, leaping to become the #1 family in the Nanqing city. Since he was not Saint Core realm warriors, there was a possibility that he would be shot to death when he was unprepared. They had never thought that Lin Chi was not a Saint Core realm warrior at all. They had never thought that the young man in front of them was an earth immortal with their view of the world. The moment these two gorgeous women took out their guns, Su Hui and Lin Xiaoshue's expressions changed immediately. Especially Su Hui, his realm was higher than Lin Xiaoshue's. The eyes of a Foundation Establishment realm warrior were extremely sharp. Moreover, from the beginning to the end, he had been paying attention to these two gorgeous women. It wasn't because he adored their beauty, but because he wanted to pay attention to their movements at all times to prevent any accidents from happening. He always wanted to ensure Lin Chi's safety. Although Lin Chi's methods had proven that he was much stronger than him, and it was very likely that he was an Earth Immortal realm expert, it was his responsibility to protect Lin Chi. Moreover, he must not let anything happen. That was a death order from his superior. Therefore, once Su Hui saw the two gorgeous women taking out their guns, he wanted to pounce on them. However, he heard Lin Chi's voice in his heart. No worries. Lin Chi did not speak. That was the effect of Lin Chi's spirit speaking in Su Hui's heart. It was a martial art that was even more profound than secret sound transmission. Su Hui's strongly built body suddenly froze. However, before he had time to think, the two gorgeous women had already pulled the trigger. Bang! An ear-piercing explosion sounded. The bullets shot straight at Lin Chi. The two beautiful women had already smiled triumphantly. The speed of the bullets was faster than the speed of sound. In such a narrow terrain and taking advantage of Lin Chi's unguarded situation, it was definitely enough to kill Lin Chi. However, what happened next completely shocked everyone. There was no expression on Lin Chi's face at all. He only stretched out his palm and gently clenched it. 2 bullets shot from different angles were absorbed into his palm like magnets. The speed was so fast that the naked eye couldn't catch. Everyone's eyes widened as they looked at Lin Chi in shock. Lin Chi was still standing in the same spot unharmed, not even moving a single step. Facing everyone's shocked gazes, Lin Chi opened his palm, and 2 bullets fell. The two gorgeous women were stunned. Their faces were filled with shock as if they had met a ghost. Their backs were drenched in a cold sweat. Lin Chi was able to catch bullets with his bare hands. That kind of reaction speed was already beyond everyone's imagination. Perhaps, a warrior facing a handgun would be able to dodge the bullets. But in that kind of lightning-quick sneak attack situation, Lin Chi was able to remain unharmed, which was a bit terrifying. Moreover, Lin Chi didn't dodge the bullets. Instead, he casually grabbed the 2 bullets in his hands. Bullets that still posed a fatal threat to warriors. Lin Chi seemed to have grabbed the 2 marbles casually. The expression on his face didn't change at all. Su Hui gulped. Even though he was a soldier with a firm will and wasn't moved by materialistic things, he was still extremely shocked upon seeing that scene. What was the background of the officer? His strength was too terrifying. Lin Xiaoxue and Tang Yuro also looked at Lin Chi in a daze with disbelief. They originally thought that Lin Chi would die in the lady's hand, but in the end, he was fine. He could even catch bullets with his bare hands. Was he still a human? Could he be a Saint Core realm warrior hidden in the dragon country? The 2 gorgeous women slumped to the ground. Their faces were pale. They dropped their guns and fell to the side. They had lost their chance missing the first shot. Moreover, Lin Chi had the strength to kill them. They wouldn't even have the chance to escape. I beg you, don't kill me. The 2 gorgeous women were terrified and wanted to beg for mercy. I gave you a chance. Lin Chi's faint voice sounded. He knew clearly what the 2 women were thinking from the beginning to the end. He didn't even need to look to know what they were thinking. When the 2 women had the thought of killing him, Lin Chi had already caught their thoughts in the void. That was the ability of an Earth Immortal. There were no secrets in front of him. Nothing could escape his mind as long as Lin Chi subconsciously went to investigate. He looked up, and lightning was formed in the void. Ah! The 2 gorgeous women who were slumped on the ground suddenly screamed. The intense pain in their minds made them cover their heads with painful expressions. Then, the 2 women looked dazed, as if they had lost their memories. Their eyes were looking around blankly. When their gazes shifted to Lin Chi, they instantly revealed a happy expression. They got up from the ground and bowed towards Lin Chi. They even respectfully called out, "Master! Master!" Lin Xiaoxue and Tang Yuro were stunned. What the hell? Weren't these 2 girls from the Song family? Why would they call this man master? Lin Xiaoxue was completely in a mess. The ability this man displayed had completely broken her understanding of this world. She had to find a suitable opportunity later to acknowledge him as her tutor. As long as she could reach the man's level, she would be able to obtain an extremely high evaluation from the reincarnated world and obtain even more reincarnated points. Tang Yuro's gaze towards Lin Chi also had a little change. Her eyes were shining brightly. Even though Su Hui was also a bit surprised. But after seeing Lin Chi display his miraculous methods, Su Hui had already started to get used to it. Seeing the 2 girls' respectful attitude towards him, Lin Chi's face didn't have the slightest expression. He just replied calmly. He used his violent mental energy to directly destroy their will and plant a memory in their minds just now. To them, Lin Chi was their master. They had to listen to Lin Chi's orders completely. Lin Chi knew very well what kind of a person Song Tianming was. These 2 women were good-looking, and they had dirty relationships with Song Tianming. Song Tianming would fly into a rage if he saw his women fawning over Lin Chi in front of him. That was why Lin Chi didn't kill these 2 women on the spot. Lin Chi's gaze landed on Tang Yuro. "Are you the Tang family's eldest daughter, Tang Yuro?" Tang Yuro's beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. She was startled by Lin Chi's sudden question. "Yes, I am." Chapter 18. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You decide your marriage translator. Nyo iwo studio editor. Nyo iwo studio Tang Euro was indeed very beautiful. No wonder Song Tianming would force the Tang family to marry Tang Euro to him. Compared to those two gorgeous women, Tang Euro and Lin Xiaoshue's facial features were even more exquisite and beautiful, and they also had the temperament of a lady from a prestigious family. Compared to Lin Xiaoshue, Tang Euro appeared more delicate, similar to the delicate and pitiful Lin Daiyu in the Dream of the Red Chamber. She looked at Lin Qi like a frightened rabbit. You don't have to be nervous. Lin Qi waved his hand. I'm here to get rid of the Song family. You've seen my strength. I'm not joking. I want you to put on a show with me. If you agree, I promise you that you will be the head of the Tang family from now on. The Tang family will be the top family in Nanjing City, and you can decide your marriage. Lin Qi revealed a faint smile. After stepping into the earth immortal, Lin Qi could see through a person's heart with a glance. The Tang Euro in front of him was a fair and sweet lady. Her personality was a little weak. She didn't want to marry Song Tianming at all. But, she had no choice but to agree to this marriage for the Tang family. Therefore, Tang Euro was a person who valued friendship and loyalty. Moreover, it seemed that Tang Euro was Lin Xiaoshue's good friend in this world. Lin Qi didn't mind helping Tang Euro. Lin Xiaoshue stood up for him that day. He still had this matter in his heart. Tang Euro could also be of some help to Lin Xiaoshue if she became the head of the Tang family. It could be considered as him returning the favor to Lin Xiaoshue. Tang Euro was stunned. She didn't doubt Lin Qi's words. The scene just now had already shown that Lin Qi could make the Song family's name disappear from Nanjing City. But why would he help her? Put on an act. What kind of act? She didn't understand. Lin Qi was so powerful. Did he still need her to act? Aren't you willing to do so? Lin Qi frowned at Tang Euro's stunned expression. No. No, I'm willing to do so. Tang Euro came back to her senses. She shook her head, then nodded. Her eyes widened. Tang Euro didn't care whether or not she could become a member of the Tang family, and whether or not the Tang family could become the top family in Nanjing City. She would be satisfied as long as she could avoid getting married to Song Tianming. Okay. Lin Qi nodded, then told Tang Euro what to do later. Everyone only had one thought in mind after hearing Lin Qi's plan. That was, the Song family was doomed. Song Tianming would become a joke. In a luxurious suite on the 18th floor of the Nanjing City Hotel. The sound of lustful moans was heard at that moment. On the bed, Song Tianming was above a woman's body and vented his desire to his heart's content. The woman's clothes were exposed, and Song Tianming directly tore them apart, revealing the fair skin. Her face blushed, and she grunted. Lust was in the air. The engagement ceremony was about to begin at that moment. The woman kept panting, and her eyes were blurred. Her tender legs hooked around Song Tianming's muscular waist. Obviously, she had lost her mind under Song Tianming's thrust. However, she muttered, Young master, the engagement ceremony is about to begin. Ah. Old master and the guests are still waiting for you. It's all right. What's wrong with making them wait a little longer? Is there anyone in the entire Nanjing City who dares to disobey me? Who should be blamed for being so seductive? Song Tianming was sweating profusely. How could he possibly stop? Instead, he increased the intensity of the impact. The woman on the bed was panting. She was just an ordinary person. How could she withstand Song Tianming's extraordinary physical strength? What's the point of being seductive? Young master, I'm afraid you won't like me anymore after you marry the Tang family's young lady. The woman pouted her cherry lips and acted as if she was wronged. Ha ha ha, don't worry. After today's engagement, Tang Euro will be my woman. She will do whatever I tell her to do. When the time comes, we'll let you have a good look at the Tang family's young Miss Seductive looks. Song Tianming laughed loudly. The more he spoke about it, the more pleased he became. He still did not care much before the engagement ceremony. Even after getting engaged to Tang Euro, he was still unbridled. Because he didn't take the people of the other world seriously at all. That was why he dared to challenge the taboos of this world constantly. In any case, no matter what he did, he would leave this world when the time comes. As for the origin world, there were strict laws and regulations. Even though he was a member of the Song family, there were still many things that he couldn't do. That was why he kept releasing himself in the other world. It wasn't just Song Tianming. Many reincarnators had this kind of mentality. He grunted. Song Tianming relaxed under the fierce sprinting. Song Tianming suddenly had a strange feeling in his heart under this kind of state. Help me put on my clothes. The woman helped Song Tianming put on an exquisite tuxedo. I have something to do. You leave first. Song Tianming immediately closed his eyes after the woman left. That strange feeling just now made him feel uneasy. Song Tianming concentrated his mind and planned to sense the situation. After using the super serum, he had already become a pre-celestial warrior. He could be considered one of the top experts in the entire dragon country. His senses were powerful, and he could even avoid danger. Very soon. A vague feeling surged into his heart. A figure appeared in Song Tianming's mind. Song Tianming suddenly opened his eyes and was shocked. The figure in his mind was Lin Qi. According to Song Tianming's sense, Lin Qi was in Nanjing City at this moment. What's going on? Lin Qi appeared in Nanjing City. Song Tianming had asked someone to inquire about Lin Qi beforehand. But there was no trace of Lin Qi in Nanjing City. Therefore, Song Tianming decided to wait until he dominated Nanjing City and then use a large amount of manpower and resources to find Lin Qi. After all, if Lin Qi wanted to become a reincarnator, he would have to make great achievements in this world. It was impossible to hide it from him. But now, Lin Qi appeared in Nanjing City unexpectedly. Although Song Tianming was arrogant and despotic, he was not a brainless playboy. On the contrary, he was very meticulous and vicious. Otherwise, the Song family would not have become the #1 family in Nanjing City without Song Tianming's help. Song Tianming was slightly surprised by Lin Qi's sudden appearance, and a hint of wariness rose in his heart. Coincidence? Unexpected? Song Tianming's eyes flickered, and he was somewhat uncertain. His name in this world hadn't changed, and Lin Qi could know of his existence with just a little inquiry. Then why did Lin Qi still dare to come to Nanjing City if he knew his existence? Lin Qi was not like Song Tianming, who bought the identity of a noble family. He awakened more than 10 years later than Song Tianming. Even if he knew about Song Tianming, he should hide somewhere and develop his strength in secret. There was no reason for him to come to him. He was courting death. I'm worrying over nothing. Song Tianming chuckled, and a self-mocking expression appeared on his face. It's just a mere Lin Qi. It just saves me some effort. The dragon country is so big. If Lin Qi were to hide, it would be hard for me to find him. Chapter 19. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who is that person? Translator. Nyo-i.bo Studio Editor. Nyo-i.bo Studio. I am in charge of the Song family. I speak for the entire Nanjing City. I'm also a pre-celestial realm expert. I plotted in the Nanjing City 15 years earlier than Lin Qi and accumulated endless wealth and power. Lin Qi, what do you have to fight me with? It's not your fault that you're poor. Your fault is that you had to offend me. I'll let you know what regret and pain are. Ha ha ha, I won't let you off even if you kneel on the ground and beg me for mercy like a dog when I revenge. You should think of the consequences when you dared to offend me. A maniacal smile appeared on Song Qianming's face, and his expression was ferocious. The joints of his hands were cracking under his pressure, and veins were popping out of his thick arms. Song Tianming seemed to see Lin Qi's bones being crushed by him, begging for mercy in front of him. After venting a little, Song Tianming came to the hall where the banquet was. The engagement ceremony was about to begin. In the elevator, Lin Qi smiled. He had long sensed Song Tianming's existence. He was an earth immortal, and he could make others not notice him. They would not be able to see him even if he walked in front of others. He deliberately revealed a trace of his aura just now. Song Tianming was able to notice Lin Qi's appearance, and he became alert. It was to provoke Song Tianming's reaction. Song Tianming would think that he happened to appear in Nanqing City, and he planned to arrange for people to catch him after the engagement ended. But he just happened to appear at his engagement ceremony. At that time, he would ask Song Tianming whether he was surprised or not. In the wedding banquet hall, Song Tianming walked in with a smile on his face. He was the main character of the wedding banquet, so he deliberately restrained his arrogant attitude that day. He thought that once he appeared, he would receive the attention of everyone present, causing countless women from wealthy families to scream. However, when he arrived at the hall, he was surprised to find that everyone's gaze was focused on another person. Song Tianming subconsciously looked at that person. He was shocked when he saw the person's appearance. That man. Song Tianming saw an extremely handsome man with an extraordinary temperament. He stood there casually, but it was as if he was at the center of the world, attracting everyone's attention. Immortal. That word naturally appeared in Song Tianming's mind. That's right. Only the word immortal could describe the man in front of him. The man had a temperament away from the materialist world, and his entire body emitted an indescribable charm, giving people the feeling of a fallen immortal. Everyone was infected by the charm, and they didn't even dare to breathe loudly, deeply afraid of disturbing the man. There's such a person in this world. Song Tianming was secretly shocked. He had been reincarnated in this world for 15 years, and he had seen all kinds of people, but he had never seen such a person. The appearance was secondary. The key was the other person's temperament, which gave people a feeling of being detached from the world. Such a person was rare even in the origin world. This person's bearing is simply comparable to a high-level reincarnator. Could it be that he is the child of fate in this world? Song Tianming couldn't help but guess in his heart. The child of fate was the person in this world who had great luck. He was exceptionally lucky, and he would succeed no matter what he did. Moreover, he didn't need to spend much effort to achieve something that others would never be able to achieve in their lifetime. That kind of person was the child of fate. In the Academy of the Origin World, it was said that the other world would give birth to the child of fate. These children of fate were loved by the heavens and earth. Even if the reincarnators relied on their advanced consciousness, it would be difficult for them to resist the child of fate. Therefore, when they met the child of fate, the reincarnators had to be on good terms with them and lick their boots. If they were unlucky enough to offend the child of fate, they would be going against this world. It was best to find a place to hide. Otherwise, there would be unimaginable consequences. Although Song Tianming was conceited, he was not stupid. Although Song Tianming was a little unhappy that the man had stolen his limelight, he did not mind lowering himself and getting to know him if the man in front of him was the child of fate. The man who was like a fallen immortal was Lin Qi. Just as Song Tianming was about to go up and get to know Lin Qi, his expression suddenly froze. Two gorgeous women were fawning over him as if they were trying to curry favor with him. They surrounded him and even served him tea. These two women were Song Tianming's secretaries. To be precise, they were Song Tianming's lovers. There would be waiters responsible for serving the guests at a banquet like this in the Nanjing City Hotel. They could satisfy all the guests' needs. The two women did not need to serve him. But now, his women were serving another man. They even had a flattering look on their face. Song Tianming's heart was filled with anger at once. The other guests also had shocked and incredulous expressions. They all knew the identities of these two women. They were Song Tianming's women. Now, they even dared to serve another man at Song Tianming's wedding banquet. What would the background of that man be? Everyone in Nanjing City knew the consequences of betraying Song Tianming. These two women would not dare to betray Song Tianming even if they were given all courage in the world. Therefore, they thought that all of this was deliberately arranged by Song Tianming. It was difficult to make Song Tianming treat someone like that. The man was not an ordinary person. These people were all upper-class people in Nanjing City. Although they were not as powerful as the Song family, they still had a lot of power. However, none of them knew Lin Qi, and they could not even find out his identity. Immediately, the guests below started to guess Lin Qi's identity. Song Tianming was about to flare up, but then he thought about it. That man looked so extraordinary. If he was the child of fate in this world, then why not give these two women to Lin Qi? It would be a great opportunity to get to know him. If not. Song Tianming's eyes narrowed, and a cold killing intent emerged. He would not hesitate to take care of these two women and Lin Qi. After calming himself down, Song Tianming began to greet some noble guests. Half an hour later, the engagement ceremony had officially begun. Under the host of the MC of the engagement ceremony, Song Tianming and Tang Yuro stood on an extremely luxurious stage. The stage was meticulously built by the designer and cost a lot of money. However, it was just a small amount of money to the Song family. The engagement between the Tang and Song families was a big event in Nanjing City, so it naturally had to be grand. Welcome to young Master Song and young Lady Tang's engagement ceremony. Next, let's begin the engagement ceremony. Young Master Song, do you want to marry this woman and make her your wife? Regardless of sickness or health, regardless of poverty or wealth. The MC of the engagement ceremony read out the oath. Song Tianming replied very elegantly, yes, I do. Then, the MC of the engagement ceremony looked at Tang Yuro. Miss Tang, do you want this man to be your husband and marry him? Regardless of sickness or health, regardless of poverty or wealth. The MC of the engagement ceremony handed the microphone to Tang Yuro. Chapter 20. You are listening at novelfull.audio. No, I don't translator. Nyo I.bo studio editor. Nyo I.bo studio. Tang Yuro took the microphone. But she didn't answer. Instead, she looked at Lin Qi. Tang Yuro believed that Lin Qi could get the Song family's name removed after seeing his ability. But she was still a bit apprehensive at that moment. After all, if she failed, the Tang family would suffer the crazy revenge of the Song family, falling into a place of eternal damnation. She wasn't afraid of death. But she was worried about her parents. Actually, Tang Yuro's parents didn't force her to marry Song Tianming. On the contrary, they asked her to escape. After all, they only had one daughter, Tang Yuro. Tang Yuro chose to stay and agreed to marry Song Tianming for the sake of her parents. Shifting her gaze to her parents, Tang Yuro saw the guilt and apology in their eyes. Especially her father, Tang Tianhe, who had a worried expression on his face. Although Tang Tianhe was the head of the Tang family, he wasn't the only one in charge of the Tang family. He was controlled by the elders. His daughter was forced to marry a scumbag like Song Tianming, but he could not do anything about it as her father. He had a painful feeling about that. He didn't even dare to raise his head facing Tang Yuro's gaze at that moment. Too cowardly. Tang Tianhe clenched his fists tightly, gritted his teeth, and continuously sighed. Then Tang Yuro turned her gaze towards Lin Chi. Lin Chi looked over. He could see the nervousness in Tang Yuro. With a slight smile, Tang Yuro immediately felt a mysterious power enter her body. That nervousness and worries were away at once. Tang Yuro understood that Lin Chi was helping her. Thus, Tang Yuro raised her head. She said into the microphone with a firm gaze, "No, I don't." Her voice was firm, without a tint of fear. The MC subconsciously took Tang Yuro's reply as agreement. Taking back the microphone, he continued. "Since that's the case, then." Wait, young lady Tang, you." Very quickly, the MC realized that Tang Yuro had said no. The MC froze at once. All the guests were shocked and looked at Tang Yuro in disbelief. Tang Yuro rejected Song Tianming. What a joke. Tang Yuro could have rejected Song Tianming's before all these. But now it was the engagement ceremony, and Tang Yuro was reluctant to engage with Song Tianming's at the engagement ceremony. What did that mean? Song Tianming was also stunned. This woman dared to reject him. Was she crazy? She wouldn't possibly be ignorant of the problems the Tang family was facing. Once she was refused, not to mention the Tang family, even Tang Yuro and her parents would have to face the crazy revenge of the Song family. How would she dare to do so? Rejecting him at the engagement ceremony was as if slapping his face in front of everyone. The corners of Song Tianming's eyes twitched. He gritted his teeth and said, "You, say it again." Tang Yuro smiled. She wasn't scared by Song Tianming at all. Her smile was very natural and happy. "I said I don't want to. The reason is simple. You are too ugly. Just looking at you makes me sick." Boom. These words were like a bomb that exploded among the guests. Everyone's expressions changed, and their eyes widened. Was that woman crazy? Not only did she reject Song Tianming's engagement, she even publicly said that Song Tianming was ugly. Was Song Tianming ugly? Of course, he wasn't ugly. Although he wasn't the most handsome man, his appearance was also very outstanding. Moreover, he was born into the Song family and had been pampered since he was young. Every move of his had a noble temperament. Especially that Song Tianming had directly become a pre-celestial realm warrior after he used the super serum. His entire body was constantly emitting a shocking domineering aura. However, it was that exact Song Tianming was ugly to Tang Yuro. And it was also the reason why Tang Yuro refused the engagement. They immediately thought that Tang Yuro had gone crazy. Then they looked at the Tang family with pity. The Tang family was going to be finished. Tang Yuro's parents had shocked expressions on their faces. They couldn't believe that their daughter would say something like this. As for the other members of the Tang family, their faces were ashen as they stared unhappily at Tang Yuro on stage. What was Tang Yuro doing? And on stage, Song Tianming's anger had already reached an extreme. He was about to explode. He knew that Tang Yuro was only speaking out of anger. He also knew that Tang Yuro would show some other signs of resistance. But he never expected Tang Yuro to say that he was ugly. He knew his appearance very well. And he had absolute confidence. But people's words were terrifying. Tang Yuro had publicly said that he was ugly during the engagement ceremony and had rejected the engagement because of that. That matter would spread throughout Nanjing City. That time, words could spread real even all of these were fake. He would become the joke of the entire Nanjing City. Did this woman think that he wouldn't do anything to the Tang family? Song Tianming took a deep breath and held back his anger. After all, that was his engagement ceremony. The matter would be taken as true then if he directly threw out his anger. Even if he controlled the entire Nanjing City then. People would still talk about this matter behind his back. "Everyone, I'm sorry. Recently, Euro's mental condition hasn't been very good. It should be that her illness is acting up again. Quick, someone, bring the medicine over. His gaze was gloomy as he fiercely looked at the Tang family. The Tang family members immediately reacted and rushed onto the stage, wanting to control Tang Euro. An elder from the Tang family even stood up and apologized, "Everyone, I'm sorry. Euro isn't feeling well. She has made a fool of herself." Only a few smart people could tell. Song Tianming was indeed not simple. He had changed the situation with just 2 simple sentences. Most people would think that Tang Euro was mentally ill and had suddenly fallen ill today. After all, the Tang family had already come forward to confirm it. If word got out, they would only think that Song Tianming was a lovesick person. The Tang family's young lady was mentally ill, and Song Tianming was still willing to marry her. How touching. Lin Chi smirked. It was time for him to go on stage. He slowly stood up. He appeared on the stage with just moving a step. "Who are you? What are you doing?" The Song family's bodyguards, who were around the stage, immediately rushed up when they saw Lin Chi. But, they were directly crippled before they could get close to Lin Chi. They fell heavily to the ground. This. Song Tianming's expression was serious as he looked at Lin Chi in shock. These bodyguards were at least 2 meters away from Lin Chi from others' view, but they suddenly flew out. Those who didn't know would think that they were putting on an act. Even Song Tianming found it hard to believe that his bodyguards couldn't even get close to Lin Chi's body. He was a pre-celestial realm warrior, even though he had cheated a little. He still couldn't be underestimated. His bodyguards had gone through hell-like training, and every one of them had the strength of the Qi-absorbing realm. The group of Qi-absorbing realm warriors was blown off when they were 2 meters from that man before they could touch him. Wasn't that putting on an act? Who would believe it? He could not even send someone flying from 2 meters away from himself. Zhang Tong. Song Tianming shouted angrily and called out the name of one of the bodyguards. Young master. The bodyguard replied weakly. He wanted to struggle to get up from the ground, but he could not get up at all. At least 3 of his rib bones were broken.